As you get started in the Theories Applied assignment, I want you to be sure that you focus on using your textbook to help you with these answers. Starting on page 9, the book begins talking about psychosocial theories. The first theorist described is Freud, and I have summarized two basic ideas here of Freud's. One is his psychosocial theory, stressing that a person's sexual and aggressive behaviors in childhood are crucial in personality development, as well as his concepts of id, ego, and superego developing in 5 stages. And that's all the detail I gave. The book goes into much greater detail and gives examples. Here, I am exploring other examples and choose to talk about the use of pacifiers being similar to breastfeeding or bottling and allowing a child more opportunity to suck and meet oral stimulation needs. A mother who continues breastfeeding in the U.S. where food insecurities are not as prevalent might argue that a child needs the continued oral stimulation for proper personality development. And so you can see how she might be pulling on, even unknowingly, concepts that Freud's theory supports. So you see how I'm taking an application to today, our world, and applying it to this theorist. Erikson built on Freud's psychosocial theories, and he emphasized, as we learn in our textbook, continuing the sequences with the textbook, that he emphasized the superego's positive influence with new skills and attitudes to be a positive member of society, and really expanded into this concept that culture impacts development, teaching skills and behaviors that children will need. Our textbook focuses on the example of a community where children are not nursed for the first few days. It might have even been 2 weeks, because they are given just a little bit of liquid through, and they name the device. The reason being is that community is very dependent on salmon for nutrition, and salmon is only available in their waters for a short period of time. So it's all about building the body's ability to sustain itself nutritionally for long periods of time. And so you can see how what we might consider starving or not proper nutrition for a newborn culturally has significance in that community. I give the example of sleep training. The concept of sleep training could be to address the working demands of parents and the eating demands of infants and balancing those. Around the world, we know that potty training practices are correlated to wealth, access to diapers, who is caregiving for the child, and other amenities. There's actually data that shows the further away from the equator determines how early you are potty trained, or statistically how many children might be potty trained. And so the closer you are to the equator, you tend to be potty trained earlier versus farther away later. You can think about clothing and what that means for a child, the amount of laundry that might have to be done with accidents. But also it's about how much time the child is spending in group care versus being cared for by the same person in those first years. And so all of these mixed together, that we really understand that it's not this biological need just to be emphasized, but that also it's the way we live, it's our access to different amenities too that impact when potty training might happen. Many of us have heard of Pavlov and his salivating dog and the bell, correct? And so we know, our textbook explains, Pavlov and Skinner developed behaviorism theories, and these are observable events where you can see the stimuli and the response. Reinforcers can increase the frequency of a behavior, while punishment can decrease the frequency. When one flinches to a stimuli, even if they are not harmed, that is an example of an observable event where you see the stimuli and the response. So you might see someone raise their hand and another person flinch. You see this with dogs sometimes, even if you're not going to strike them, but they might cower their head a little bit. Or when you hear a signal that your teacher used for reward, almost naturally, if lights go off in a room, people turn and look. Which is often a behavior that you're taught in classes. When the lights go off, look at the adult. And so it elicits that same feeling or that reward for that behavior. So you can see here the length of my summaries of these different theorists and their ideas. I do not go into all of their ideas. I chose 2 of the biggest things that I thought stood out to me, that I thought were significant and we needed to keep in mind. And then I give an example, other than the one that's provided in the textbook, of how this applies or how we might see this in today's environment. So you can pause this video and use my answers for these first 3. Consider it's your reward for listening. And then you'll have these others that you need to complete on your own.